Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bomber Banter. We are here for FIONA'S forecast, round 17 against the Gold Coast. It feels a little weird getting to round 17 and only playing the Gold Coast now, given that we spent all of pre-season preparing to play them in round 1 or round 0, whatever friggin' hell that is. So it does feel a little bit strange. I have missed being all up in Essendon content over the bye week. I hope you all enjoyed a week off and your stress levels and emotions enjoyed the week off, but we are certainly back into it. And without further ado, welcome back, Solution. Have you enjoyed your bye week?
I've liked the mental relief. That's been nice. Mm-hmm. But I have an issue, like everyone else associated with Essendon. I nearly pulled out of this podcast with an injury.
Oh, no, not you too.
Yeah, I've got like a neck injury. And honestly, this time yesterday, I could not have done this podcast. Like, if you see me sitting on a weird angle, you know why. So my theory is anybody...
TBC or...
Look, it's awareness at the moment.
Oh, right.
But I reckon anybody associated in any way with Essendon, supporters, sponsors, they're all susceptible. So if you're in any way associated with a hanger, there's a chance you might go down with an injury.
Yeah, look, my heater's gone down with an injury, so apologies. I'm dressed like I'm ready to go to Antarctica whilst everyone else is going to Europe and losing the clothes. I'm gaining the clothes. So can we add my heater to the mix as well?
Yep, everything.
Not good. So, I mean, on that topic.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on, Fiona? I mean, you did an excellent video yesterday for anybody that didn't see it, and I was kind of like, just turn on YouTube. It was like, oh, bang, there's some Bomber Banter content that I wasn't expecting, which was great, and I think you spoke for a lot of people. You could have also titled the video, "What the fuck is going on?"
Tempting. It was tempting, yeah. But then I thought of all the people who yell at me for swearing, and I thought, oh, I better not.
Oops. They probably won't be listening to this. What did you conclude in the end for those who didn't see it?
Look, I found it a personally very cathartic exercise to do, and then felt compelled to put it in a video because I thought maybe everybody else is feeling very emotional and passionate about the news that Langford, Redmond and Parish all had setbacks at training on Saturday. So, look, I just wanted to get it all. I wanted to do the research and I wanted to clarify these players' histories. Was it a really concerning pattern of soft tissue injuries for these 4 players that we're concerned about, or was it really just a couple of isolated incidents and injuries? I wanted to kind of, talk through the contract situations and give some context as to where, the issues about their being injury prone and the context of the contract lengths and where it was intertwining and what conclusion it was coming to. And look, in the end, I've concluded by process of elimination in my own head that it's the fitness conditioning department, and I mean an all round. So recovery, preparation for training, preparation for games during the week. Are the players educated enough, doing enough to prepare their injury-prone bodies, their ageing bodies, ageing in terms of, AFL lifelines? Are they doing enough? Are they being educated enough? Are they getting regular blood tests? Are they seeing a naturopath to see where their bone density and if they need supplements to help aid in recovery and healing? I mean, I'm a layman's. I lift weights, I do yoga, I run, and I even still have to be really, really specific about my recovery and the things I take in order to get the best out of my body. So athletes should be doing that on steroids. I really, really shouldn't bring steroids into the conversation, should I? Sorry, everybody. Forget I said that.
Like PTSD?
Yeah, I shouldn't be saying that word either. When I say supplements, I mean approved naturopathic supplements that aid and just give you that extra little bit. Everyone's striving to get the best out of themselves. Those little extra bits will help. And so that's what I put it down to. There was also the point that these players in particular, these 4 players are not conditioned. Their bodies are not conditioned from the minute they walked in this door to be training and performing at the level up here that Brad Scott has now set. Since they walked in the door, they've been training here. Brad Scott says, they ain't going to cut it. You've got to train here. And there is an argument that their bodies are just not capable of it, because for their first 5, years in the system, they were taught and they conducted themselves in a certain way, and now their bodies are reacting. So that's probably where I sit on the issue.
You look at Nate Caddy, he's been an Ironman there every week. Kako's played every game.
And Caddy especially throws himself around. And he falls down. Do you see how he crashes to the ground? From marks, his body cops it.
He's rubber man. He's a rubber man. Which is what we used to say about Wanganeen back in the day. Yeah, I don't know. Do you reckon there's any sort of credence to the theory that the hanger could be contributing? Now, we know it's the northwest. I don't know if, some Italian or Greek has concreted the whole thing, even underneath the surface. I don't know. That theory's been floating around. You're dismissing that as a contributor.
Yeah, personally, and I personally don't think it's the turf, but also someone who commented on the video I did yesterday. I'm so sorry, I can't name you because I don't remember who you were, but I'm giving you the credit. This was an issue at Windy Hill that we're always complaining about soft tissue injuries to players back then. So I don't think it's personally, and my gut feel is that it's not. So, but anyway.
Okay. So projecting to the changes, and obviously now, I guess a little bit, we used to do this podcast back when it was just audio. We would do it on a Thursday when the changes had been delivered, and now we do it earlier in the week. So there's a fair bit of speculation involved. But what do you think will happen at the selection table?
Well, I'm pretty confident. This is the first week that I felt pretty confident in my changes. I think it's going to be in Durham, in Ridley, in Zach Reid, and out Blackiston, out Archie Perkins, and out Ben Hobbs.
You think Zach Reid will be ready?
Yep. I just have a gut feeling that they'll bring them all back. Oh, when I say all, I mean Ridley and Reid.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling they will.
Think Blackiston be unlucky? Or Blackiston?
He will, but he's only at the mercy of Zach Reid coming back in, personally. And he's only at the mercy of Vigo doing so well in the ruck, because otherwise he'd be going into the ruck to give Goldstein a rest if Goldie had played last week, for example. But because Vigo performed so beautifully, I think they'll give him another challenge this week with up against Witts, who's been in incredible form. I mean, they're hit out, so just the numbers are ridiculous. So I do think Blackiston is just at the mercy of that two-pronged. He's playing in defence where he's plugging a hole for us. That's not his position. And also Vigo has also stood up. So it's not a bad thing for him to go back to the VFL, learn the system a bit more. I mean, we all know the part of his game where that was lacking was when he had the ball. He looked very panicked. So now you've had a taste of AFL, go back to the VFL and dominate and take Archie Perkins with you. And Archie Perkins can dominate in the VFL and feel good about himself.
It was funny because he looked panicked, but he did get rid of the ball most times.
He absolutely did, but he looked like he had a hot potato.
Yeah. But it was surprisingly effective. Can we play Goldstein and Vigo together?
I don't really think it's necessary. Last week I would have said, maybe he's really going to struggle, but after seeing him, yes, Jackson had an incredible game, and it's unfortunate that the numbers don't support how good Vigo was, but that's only because Jackson is a number one pick. He's a brilliant player, arguably the best in the comp or one of the best in the comp at the minute. So I don't think it's necessary.
Definitely ugly.
Man, do you think you're an oil painting, do you?
No, I said that on our podcast. He's ugly. He looks like Joe Danaher's uglier brother, and Joe's no oil painting.
I listened to the podcast, and all I was doing was shaking my head and saying, "How mean."
Well, that's kind of our brand. But
True.
So you don't think you'll bring Goldie in, because Goldie was fantastic the week before, and we know that Brad likes him. I think he likes him not just for what he does, obviously, on the ground, but just it's a leader out there that I think we sadly need at times.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I only think Goldie comes in if Vigo goes out. I do note that some track watchers said that Vigo trained separately from the group. Okay. Don't know if he's carrying something or if he's injured, but if he is, then Goldstein will come straight back in, and I still maintain Blackiston will go out. But otherwise, I'm happy to. I think Brad would be perfectly happy to let Vigo go again and have get another induction into his AFL life with another big challenge against Wits. And with a formidable midfield again. So two of the best midfields. We're coming up against two of the best clearance players. So last week, 2 weeks ago, Sarong, and this week, Matty Rao. So I think it's what a wonderful rehearsal, into full-time AFL hopefully next year for Vigo. So I'd be happy with it.
Cool. So moving to Sitting Joe and Smoking Joe, do you recall who did what?
Yeah,
2 weeks
absolutely.
is a long time. I reckon I'm smoking.
Well, that's convenient. That's a convenient memory, isn't it?
Well, I'm happy to do sitting if you.
All right, I'll give you the smoking. I'll give you the smoking. Go on. Who you got?
I've punted on this and failed, so I'm going to try again, second time. Zach Merritt is due.
Oh,
he's definitely due, and I think the week off. This is what I'm pinning it on. I'm pinning it on the week off and a bit of a recharge. It wouldn't surprise me if he's been playing sore.
I think it's mental. I think he's mentally sore.
Yeah, well, potentially as well. So either way, the week off will help, and yeah, I think he'll play well. And particularly if those ins come into the back line, we can then put him back in the midfield proper, and he'll be happier in his preferred home. So I'm going Zach.
Okay. Well, yeah, because then that pushes Clark back up onto a wing where he's much more comfortable, and gives probably Zach Johnson just an extra little bit of. Zach Merritt, again, as you say, doesn't necessarily need to be down there with those two inclusions, especially Ridley, because Roberts and Zach Johnson, I don't know, I feel quite good with having them down there together. And with McGrath will be better for those two being down there and starting to, develop some of that synergy that I'm always on about. So, yeah, I think that's a good shout from me.
Let me ask you a question. It's completely random. Yeah. I know he's not, because, we're the 12-15 team on Fox. We're not your primetime Collingwood. So maybe, yeah. Well, we'll go, particularly now. Yeah, that's right. But we'll go under the radar a bit, and so will some of our players.
Yep.
Is there, in terms of rising star, Archie Roberts? Is there a better player going around?
There is not, statistically, and as you know, I watch a lot of football, and no. And I will never be more convinced that this is just, the AFL kind of making their own decisions if Ashcroft wins it. Like, it's just no. Roberts would have to fall off a cliff for the rest of the season.
What surprises me above everything else is just how good a one-on-one player he is.
What surprises me is I see him as like a scrubber because he's so tough and he's almost like a Michael Hibberd. Like, that's how I see him, that scrubber type player. But he's good with the football. He can be really, really clean, not a scrubber at all.
I'd go as far to say he's a better user of the ball than D'Ambrosio, who we all
He's better defensively than D'Ambrosio.
But then he's got the whole other side of his game as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that's recency bias because I saw D'Ambrosio coughing it up a bit in the game the other day. But yeah, I'm so happy with Archie Roberts.
Yeah, me too. And he's only starting. Like he's got improved. That's what excites me so much about Caddy and Roberts is this is just they're just sipping right now.
That's right.
Imagine when they start taking gulps. Like
yes,
exciting. Alrighty, Sitting Joe.
Joe.
You know what? I don't know why. It's the first player that came into my head, but I'm going to give it to Xavier Dersma. Don't know why.
You've done that a couple of times with Xavier. This is your second. Yeah, I think this is your second sitting nomination.
For him? Maybe it's because I'm really...
Yeah, I can't recall what happened last time.
Okay, maybe it's because he's having a really weird season for mine. He's like 12 out of 10 when it comes to his work rate and his ability to transition, 12 out of 10. And his ability to be there for his teammates, 12 out of 10. But he's making some of the most ridiculous turnovers that you will ever see and some of the most ridiculous wrong spoils and just some clumsy, very clumsy kind of movements for him. And so it confuses me when I rate his games because he's rating so highly on those other metrics. Like he's off the charts for those other metrics. But when it comes to, and I've actually thought that because he's going so fast and he's so used to being like the speed of light, up and down, that when he gets to a contest, all the blood's rushed to his head and he's almost either too tired or he just doesn't have a moment to just compose himself. But, yeah, very strange season.
No, it's almost like he's in an F1 car and he's trying to pass his driver's license around Carlton and do hook turns and not like smash into
chaotic.
Yeah, he's a bit chaotic. I love his endeavour. Love his
that's what makes it hard. That's what makes it hard to criticise him because those other metrics and they're important metrics. That's work rate. That's setting a tone for what your opposing wingmen should be doing, and your younger in terms of leadership, that's setting the bar really high. And he's also kicking some important goals. Almost won us the game. Against Carlton it was. So it's hard to criticise, but yeah, sorry, Zave, if this is your second one that I've given you. It's nothing against you. I absolutely adore you, but. I hope it's a reverse Moz.
Yes, of course. I'm wondering if I should tilt my computer because I'm really, but like, I need someone to. If anyone wants to come and walk on my back, you're welcome and fix my neck. All right, now, what are we doing? Houdini.
Yeah.
Who's the Houdini? This is my segment, isn't it?
Yep. Who you got? Now, I want you to base it on the fact that I think Perkins might go out, Hobbs might go out.
I already said it before you gave me. I already said it before you gave me my parameters. Gresham.
Oh, actually, you know what? Perkins might not go out because Parrish is now going to come out. I forgot. Because Parrish has redone an injury and he was in the team prior to the bye. So he's got to come out, which begs the question, would you bring Sardis in? I know your answer. Why'd I ask that question? That's rhetorical. It's a yes from you, no?
Yeah. I'd bring him in if only to try and get some currency to help us at the end of the season. But maybe that ship has sailed. And I will qualify that by saying that if he's not doing the right things off the field, and we were sort of speculating in the context of Patrick Voss and what a wanker it turns out he is, and it was like, well, that explains why Scott didn't want to have a bar of him in the seniors. Again, from the outside looking in, and if there's a bit of shit bloke coefficient being applied, then don't play him. But otherwise, look, why not? We know this season's only about following seasons and about helping us make decisions and all those things. So yeah, I'd play him, but there'd be a reason why he's not. But we shall see. But no, I'd say Gresham. Gresham to me, I'd say Archie's showing more endeavour than Gresham. Gresham is drifting out of games, and it's almost when he isn't switched on, whether it's mental, it probably is over the shoulders. I'm sure he's trying like every other player out there. He's trying, but when he is poor, it just sticks out, and it shouldn't.
Yep.
He's not a a player that draws eyes to him. But yeah, it seems like whether it's a selfish act, whether he fails to chase, whether he doesn't tackle, whether he coughs it up, he just does things that a player in that position, player who's a small forward, is generally going to have less possessions, needs to make every single possession count, and also needs to be really good defensively. And they're two things that he doesn't do well.
I would probably add to that. I don't mind when forwards are a little bit selfish, because I kind of see that as they're taking the responsibility, they believe in themselves. But when it becomes a pattern and a habit, that's when I think it's a problem. And I just don't like how he would know how hard it is to be making a lead that's not to making good leads and working hard to make a lead. That's not what's the word? That's not used, or that's not honoured. He would know how hard that is. So when he blatantly burns 2 metre Peter or Caddy or Kako when they've made a good lead and it's an obvious one, that's what shits me, because he would know, being a forward, that you work hard to get that space and you work hard to get some direct, some distance from your opponent. And there's just too many isolated incidents that are cultivating for me for Gresh. So if he can kind of stamp that out of his game and up, as you say, that defensive pressure, not just the fake chasing and the fake attempt, but I mean your Kako type. If you want to look at someone who's not fake tackling and fake trying to put on pressure, Kako is he's the mould, because every chase he's putting on, he actually believes his body and mind are one and they are coexisting, because he believes that he can get a player, and if he can't get the player, he's going to put a little bit of pressure on that player and force a disposal sooner than the player wants. Yeah, Gresham is probably a good call for the Houdini. Yeah, especially, and look, I don't think, unlike Archie Perkins, who was at the mercy of not having a direct replacement for his position, Gresham, we now have, small forwards in the VFL.
Yep.
Oscar Smart.
Guelphy's been okay.
Guelphy is building. But Oscar Smart, who we recruited, we can take a look at him. Alwyn Davey has been granted okay, not setting the VFL alight, but perhaps give him another go. Do you want to try Menzies? I don't know. But would Menzies' output be more than Gresham's at this point? I don't know. So there are options there for Brad Scott and the selection committee to try. But yeah, good one. Good Houdini.
So we move to the prediction. By the way, what do you think of the 12:15 time slot?
I'm going to say I love it.
We know you normally put the prism of what's best for Fiona.
Yeah, which is
WBFF. Which you have to confirm is very uncharacteristic for me. That is the last thing that I ever do in my life is put Fiona first. Yeah.
But now that I'm selflessly giving back to you all with the fan cams, 12:15 is beautiful for me. And Marvel Stadium is beautiful. I know you're all happy that we're getting an extra game with the G next year, but I am not happy about that. I love Marvel. But yay, I know we have to win finals at the G, so blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't mind it. It's also working well for me this week with my other business. So All things are coming up Fiona this weekend, but I know you probably hate it. Smack bang in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it's like I got my Saturday routine, which doesn't
No.
football at 12:15.
What part of the routine will you not get done?
12:15. I'm usually at the market, probably.
Okay.
But I can look, I guess we'll accommodate it. But it is a weird time and way too early.
I love it. It's great.
So
may we get all the 12:15 next year.
What time will the fan cams be?
So I've estimated 4:15. I've set the time for. Whether that's earlier, not earlier, probably whether that's later, depending on traffic and all of that. But I think 4:15 we should be right to go. Yeah.
Do you think you can get as many as Terry did on Blue Abroad the other day?
Woo! Poor old Terry, the guy. He has now. Nobody else is able to resonate unless they also do run fan cams. But boy, I felt for him because I felt halfway through I could see the life draining from his face and the life draining from his eyes. You start to feel the fatigue. And he had 20,000 or something views.
I don't know. I think he had probably by the end of it. I think at the time I was watching a little.
You're on mute.
I think but my stupid microphone. I think he had 1,500 concurrently live.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
Well, in fairness, the Carlton fans really did need a safe space to congregate and to cathartic. Because boy, it's so funny. It's so funny watching them in their situation they're in. Because I'm getting PTSD. I'm literally getting deja vu because I feel exactly what's happening with them was what happened with us when we went after Clarkson, when Rudden was still there and all that craziness at the end of Rudden's tenure. And, then we hired a CEO who was an issue and we had to undo that. Like that is the chaos. That is the toxicity. That is the crap that's, at the top. But it's coming out on game day and everybody's seeing it in a vacuum, that it's the players, it's Voss, but it's not. We know that it's above. If the toxicity is up there, you've got no hope down there. And this is deja vu. And I did say to Terry...
I was going to say, you call it a safe space. I don't know how safe it is actually at the moment. It's pretty wild. Couldn't happen to a better team. So what's your prediction?
I predict that they're absolutely supremely talented middle and forward line is absolutely going to demolish us. Maybe by not so much because we're at Marvel, but they want for nothing on paper, this team. They literally want for nothing. On paper, they are just so supremely talented.
Do they want for away wins at times?
Well, nobody remembers better than me that we gave Damien Hardwick his first away win last year in round 22 at McAndrew after the siren. Like that is traumatizing saying that. So we're all a bit PTSDing here today together, aren't we? But no, their midfield, it's no shock. Matty Rowell is, leading or coming second in the competition for average tackles, clearances. Ben King is in fantastic form. He's on the precipice of taking a game and just ripping it to shreds. I'm talking kicking a bag of 8 or something like that.
Yeah, it's coming Saturday at 12:15.
Yeah, so he's just been building, and in between the build, he's had a few drops, and then he's building. You can just smell it, emanating off him. And he's sitting at 5th for average marks inside 50, as is Ben Long inside 50. So 5th for average in the entire competition, which is very elite. And then they've got Sam Collins, who I reckon Sam Collins is one of the most enjoyable players to watch. He and Rao together, I actually smile when I watch them. They're so entertaining. There's just something about them. But, yeah, Sam Collins is 4th for intercepts. So he's going to intercept.
Like, with Gold Coast for me, previous seasons, they're almost just like a bunch of NPCs. I don't even know who they are. They're just like
Yep.
faceless, kind of,
Yes.
okay, they're playing that in that weird colour. But now
True.
suddenly I'm knowing players and I'm...
They've got a brand. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, they'll beat us. What are you predicting?
Well, they kind of in the past, just on that point, they've been very kids. This is kids, and but this year there's a maturity about them. I reckon, spiritually, a maturity about them spiritually. And yes, they've dropped a few games they should win, but I just think there's something very different about their makeup this year because they've always had the talent. That's the thing. They've always had that talented list. Gifted, but otherwise, talented. But now all the moving parts have kind of settled and their cohesion now is probably at that elite level. Always talk about that cohesion and that chemistry. Well, a lot of their group and their core have been together for a long time and I think they're just putting it all together. So I think we're going to have to be good in the midfield, but we're going to get bullied. One thing they're not great at where we can get a sneaky, look in is they're not great at stopping the opposition from transitioning from D50. That really, how we're really bad at stopping that as well. Well, they're not.
Can I say, by the way, shout out to you, Fiona. I'll give you your flowers because last week, to anyone listening or watching, you just predicted it the week before last, I should say. You predicted it perfectly. You said that Fremantle were not a great transition team. They're a bit slow, and we will. We won't be thrashed like we have in. Yeah, we won't be thrashed like previous weeks. So again, for anyone watching, Fiona's prediction. I've asked it twice now, but it's coming. I'm sure. Get your pen and paper and write it down. Take some money. Take some equity out of your home. Take your kids' university fund and bet on it because she's right on the money with this sort of stuff.
I mean, talking about recency bias, against Carlton, I predicted a 95-point loss. So I was a week early, unfortunately, because that came against them. But, it's more about what I see, where I see the team's strengths and weaknesses and where we can maybe get a look in. And I think that's where we can get a look in. And the player that comes to mind is Archie Roberts and him just, cutting that angle and changing the angles in the back line instead of being predictable and going up the line, being really, really confident and brave in cutting those angles. And I think if Zach Johnson and Archie Roberts kind of get in that mood, I think if they've got a bit of confidence behind them, we could potentially, if their efficiency is down and we get the chance to force a turnover and they, don't kick a goal, we should be able to get some ascendancy from the back line. We don't want to be attacking from the back line. We want to be attacking from, the clearance and the centre bounce. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to win many of those. But anyway. All right. I'm going to say 13 points loss.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would be honourable loss territory.
I'm getting a bit sick of losing, though. I'm getting a bit sick of, especially because I think it's because I'm doing this Bomber Banter and I've committed to watching the replays no matter what. But I'm just not enjoying having no wins I know that's going against, Project Draft Pick, but I really would like to win. And I know I know the ladder's looking nice with us right now and Melbourne and St Kilda. Everything is placed where it should be.
Yes.
But I'm craving a bit of the dopamine. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't deep it like you do. The amount of knowledge you have of other teams still staggers me to this day. But yeah, I can see, 24 points, Gold Coast. They'll just have a bit too much. It'll be in their forward half a lot more than ours. And they'll score goals. And they've got goal kickers too, that's a thing. So, yeah, I can see them just kicking a score that we can't quite match. But I'm hoping, for me, it'll be 4 points if Zachary comes back and gets through the game unscathed. That'll be 4 points for me.
True. Yep. And if Vigo gets another game under his belt, some more experience, there's a lot of things we're looking for, and it's not wins. Let's be honest.
There were so many things to like out of last week.
Yeah,
notwithstanding, and it was all like
kid related.
Yeah, right. That's right. Cast your mind back to sort of 3-4 years ago. We might win a game, but it would be on the back of a great stringer performance.
Merit,
senior players, and okay, we're not having the wins, but we're seeing these kids do things each week that just think, oh wow, these guys are here for the long term. They are 150 game, 200 game, barring injury players, and that's what. Trust the process. That's
yes. Don't get caught up in the dopamine hit like I am, but yeah. And we got Richmond the week after, so we've got Richmond next week, so we might get a bit of a dopamine hit there. Who knows?
I'd love to lose.
Huh?
I'd love to lose. Oh, Richmond can't really catch us, can they? I think the Kangaroos could leapfrog us.
Yes, Richmond I don't think have enough wins. No. I mean, they could. There's still enough time, but not by next week, no. So losing that game would probably be, well, in the long term, pointless. But it depends how I think a dopamine hit is probably going to do the group good, I think. Maybe not too many dopamine hits because we do want to keep our draft hand as well. And as you're saying, so long as we're not – look, I will say I wouldn't want this group to have another one more 90-plus point loss.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on the players. No more. We've already had 2 of them this season. Granted, against good teams who will play finals in Adelaide and Geelong, but I do not want to see one more of those.
We go to the Cattery in 2 weeks.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
Can we have one more? Can we get a free pass?
Can I get a free pass from doing a post-replay review of that game?
You've committed to this now, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I have.
All right. Well, should we go to a couch question?
Yes, let's do it.
We had the latest batch come through. Just for anyone who is wondering, if you do submit a question and you don't hear for months, it's because Fiona needs to be reminded to go in and check, and then suddenly sends me a list of 3,000.
Look, there's a lot on the plate at the moment, all right?
Okay.
She's only one person. She can only handle so much.
So you ready? This one's a grey one.
Okay.
So I'll try and adjust my neck. I hate phone calls. My GF basically thinks we won't make it unless we talk on the phone more. Is this crazy? I hate phone calls. My GF basically thinks we won't make it unless we talk on the phone more. Is this cray?
Oh, my God, I relate with this guy so much. Guy or girl?
On which side?
As in, I can relate to hating phone calls because I also hate I don't hate when I'm on it, as in I'm fine when I'm on there, but the actual getting the energy to make the phone call is like, oh, my God, it's just so much easier to text. And
should you have started on a banter via text?
Oh, maybe I should have. Maybe that's an idea for the future. Send in your questions. I can get a separate number. Send in your questions. I know Swoop Luke, shout out to Luke, who I've had a catch up with last week, and that was great. He does a voicemail segment where people ring in and leave in voicemails, and that's a lot of fun. Maybe food for thought for the future. Look, I will say, whilst I and most millennials and below love the texting game and grew up and addicted to that texting game, you cannot get any type of connection or chemistry in text. You cannot get close to a person in text. So, unfortunately, I think your girlfriend has a very good point here, and I do believe that you need to have more phone calls and you need to make an effort. Start small. Maybe ring her every second day or every third day that you think to text. Maybe pick up the phone and call instead. because that's the only way, aside from being, in each other's presence physically, texting till the end of time is just you collecting a pen pal. That's all it is. You're not able to pick up on, tone of voice and, and there's the susceptibility of, taking something the wrong way or not picking up the vibe, not hearing if she's taking something the wrong way, not how you mean it. So I would say that, start with one extra phone call a week. It will make her happy, trust me, and it's probably only going to take one extra phone call for her to see, that you're making an effort. So I would definitely agree with that.
So I like to play devil's advocate in this segment.
Yeah.
What if, because he said she wants to talk more, so presumably he's already talking on the phone. What if he's sitting there, he's been at work all day, he comes home and she wants to talk for 2 hours and he's sitting there listening to her talk and he's just scrolling anyway. He's got to just hang on the end. I have work calls like this where I've just got to be in the back of my mind, just be vaguely aware that a question may come and I need to be able to somehow work out what was said. And sometimes I'll say, oh, yeah, that's a really good point. What do you think? Because I didn't actually listen. What if she's just relentless? Have you got a strategy for that scenario?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, your needs are important here too. And in that case, instead of you sitting, insulting her and sitting on the phone for 2 hours pretending to listen to her and then having to pull something out of your ass in order to reply to a question, your needs are important too, and the way you communicate them is important as well. So you can simply say, call her and tell her this, not text and say I'm not up to it. Call her and say, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I am absolutely rooted mentally. I've got nothing to give, more to give energetically tonight, and I don't want you to feel like I'm not fully present in this chat tonight. But I just wanted to call you, say hello, say I hope you've had a great day. I was thinking about you, but I'm honestly going to go have something to eat, and then I'm going to have an early night. I will definitely call you tomorrow on my lunch break when I'm in a better space to have a bit of a longer chat. Instead of treating her like a nuisance, instead of insulting her by doing that on the phone for 2 hours, or instead of pretending, let's just be honest with our feelings and how we feel, but also know that relationships require sacrifice. So she has to sacrifice that you're not going to be in the mood every night to talk, and you have to sacrifice that you have to find time where you're going to be in the right space to have a 2-hour phone call if she wants, or a 1-hour phone call, or a half an hour phone call if she needs to get things off her chest. So you just have to find the right time to do it, and she has to accept that there is a right time and a wrong time to have a in-depth conversation. But it doesn't mean you can't call her and show her that you're meeting her halfway, but you cannot be on the phone tonight because you've been on the phone all day for work. Embellish if you have to. Say your ear's sore, your hand's sore, you've got a headache. Embellish if you must, but just be honest.
Yeah, or just give her the KO treatment. You know what the KO treatment is? Just start cutting out. Yeah, buffering.
Just get a piece of foil and crinkle it against the earpiece.
Yeah, I'd drop your phone a few times, get some scratches on it, and just this fucking phone. It's cutting out again.
For any Gen Zs and below listening, do not follow that advice. That is terrible advice. Do not do that. Practice being honest with your feelings.
All right, I'll just write this down.
Are you saying that you fall in the Gen Z and below category?
I don't fall under below, let alone Gen Z. But I equally, I do get tired on lengthy phone calls for sure. So I definitely get it. At the end of the day, particularly if you're like me and you spend time on the phone for work, sometimes the last thing you need is to have your ear, no matter how much you love somebody, bombarded with, news of the day or whatever. But honesty. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're right. Honesty is the best policy.
I love that. I'm sure you're right. That's such a man thing to say. Wow.
Yeah. Well, on that note, that's another one done. So
Another forecast done. Welcome back. We are now round 17. That means well and truly over halfway, and I'm getting scared looking that there's not many more to come, and that's really scary because that means off season and no footy in my life.
we've got the game in hand.
Oh yes. How can we forget that game where we're not going to be playing finals and Gold Coast maybe is already made finals? What a dead rubber game that would be.
Or maybe losing and being thrashed will deliver us a higher draft pick.
Exactly. Who knows? We might just play every kid we have and just tell them to do their best and see where we end up. Hey, well, alrighty. On that note, thank you, sir, for another week. We shall see what happens, and see you next week.
Thanks, Fiona. Go Bombers.
Gotcha. All right, everybody. That is your Fiona's forecast. What are your thoughts? What are you tipping? Leave your predictions below. Do we have a chance at Marvel this week against the Suns? I'm just hoping for not a blowout. That's all I can hope for. I will see you all on team selection night, Thursday night, 7:30. Join me here. We'll go through the changes. I think there'll be a few. We'll discuss what that means for the team and play a bit of a game as well, give you all a chance to win some cookies. So, all right, everybody, take care, and I'll see you Thursday night.